Okay, gonna give this another try here. Gonna be playing Espresso Stax today. You can see we've got the smoke stacks and all that. Playing against Daenyth from the Mana Drain. That's Gavin, runs the local tournaments down at Pandemonium. So let's get started. This hand is not terrible, but not awe-inspiring at the same time. On the draw, the Chalice of the Void is worse, although we can still play it at 1 reasonably effectively. We can still, drop the turn 1 Factory, the Sapphire, and, we can either drop the Chalice for 0 or add a Sphere Resistance. I think we're going to keep this. And that's not what we like to see, but we're not actually too badly off here. Mishra's Factory is actually a reasonably good foil to Jace, in that we can force him to keep on using the +2 ability instead of being able to brainstorm every turn, which isn't great since we have to actually put our resources into it. But it's a pretty good start for him, but it cost him 2 cards to do it, so I'm not that upset. So we're going to start with Factory. Yep, Sapphire. And we got sort of a tough choice here. We can play the Chalice for 0 and the Sphere of Resistance, or we can play a Chalice at 1 and pass. Neither is particularly exciting right now. I don't think a Tangle Wire is a good consideration. It's not going to tap his Jace. It's just going to get his 1 land. It's going to hurt us more than it's going to hurt him right now. I think, given that he didn't play any Moxes on his turn, I'm going to play the Chalice at 1. I think that's going to be a more effective play. Yep, that's not too bad. He got 2 more cards out of his hand. So between that and the Jace, he's hurting for it a little bit. But next turn we can play a Sphere and attack into his Jace, which is also not bad. Using the Brainstorm ability on Jace here. So he's putting some mana at the top, which lets him see 1 card deeper, since he just put 2 back for Jace. And Goblin Welder. Alright. That's definitely not the best thing for us. It really kind of messes with what we're trying to do here. to see that. Well, now we have a decision between Tanglewire, he's actually got a decent amount of stuff to tap, or Sphere of Resistance. I think it might be better to go with the Sphere of Resistance, since we don't have many stupid little things sitting around that we're okay tapping. I think we'd rather have the Sphere. Now we can play another Sphere, or we can attack into his Jace. I think we want to attack into his Jace. Okay. So he decided to brainstorm again with his Jace rather than, play the game of just constantly putting him up 2 to go down 2 for our factory, which I don't know is right. I mean, I guess it looks pretty bad if I play another Mishra's Factory and then pump it up to a 3-3. Or maybe he's planning on blocking with his Welder, but his Welder seems like a really good resource right now, so I'd be kind of surprised if that's actually where he wanted to go with it. So he's seen a lot of the top of his deck, but he's never actually popped his Scalding Tarn to shuffle anything away. So, either he's got pretty good stuff on top, or stuff that he doesn't want to shuffle away, or it's not even like he's playing around a Wasteland, because we already have a pretty convenient target with the Volcanic. So he's got his Welder active now, so he might just be planning on welding out our factory for a Chalice, which would be fine on his part. I mean, it looks pretty bad if I play a Crucible of Worlds right now, but I think he would probably do that. Yep. And now we can play our land for the turn. Now we've got a couple little dirtle things to tap, so it's definitely more advantageous now than it was previously to play the Tanglewire, so I think I'm going to do that. Two cards in hand, could have Drain here. Okay, so hopefully that keeps his mana on a little bit more of a lockdown. He doesn't currently have his Welder active, at least on our side, because there are no artifacts in the graveyard for him to weld. Because Factory is actually a land, it just becomes an artifact when we activate it, which is why he was able to weld it there. Got our first win off of the Mana Crypt flip. Fade the counter. Oops. Let's go to our draw step. Okay, that was not a bad one to get here. Can play a smokestack. Still not great because of his Goblin Welder, but definitely not unhappy to see this card. Maybe we could just play another Sphere Resistance. I think I want to get that smokestack going. I'm going to have to be careful with it because, you know, after we sacrifice one artifact, now his Goblin Welder's active, which is not good. But even then, he still has to sacrifice first. Okay, so he's welding out his own crypt for Lotus. Not sure what he could have here on the end step. Might want to fetch and pop Lotus to cast something through our Sphere of Resistance now, but not sure what that could be. It'd have to be 3 casting cost. Maybe like a Thirst for Knowledge would be good. Yep, gonna cast something here. Nope, just gonna look. Okay. So he finally shuffled away those top cards with the Scalding Tarn, so he's seeing 3 fresh cards now. Okay, so he's done for the turn. Let's untap. Let's fade this down to 2. So, I always like to tap the 2 cheapest artifacts in case I draw a Karn. I like to have the best things I can to reanimate. Gonna add a counter here. Let's go to the draw step. I'm not 100% sure that's a great idea to add the counter there, but I don't think it's a bad play either. It might wake his welder up on his turn, but I think it's going to be okay. Gonna play another Tangle Wire here.